Jennifer and Sarah Hart adopted 6 children. They were Marcus, 19, Hannah, 16, Devontae, 15, Abigail, 14, Jeremiah, 14, and Sierra, 12. Adopted by 2 moms.
Get him. Get him. What are you doing?
I was a real snake. I was excited.
Whoa.
They were a beautiful family by most accounts. Friends called them the Hart Tribe. Friends and devoted Facebook followers called them, quote, the perfect couple with the perfect kids.
I mean, what you're showing me that they were part of that and the pictures, it was not the family we saw next door.
From their outside, their cozy split level looked like a happy home. So, what led Jen to drive her family off a California highway to their deaths?
Officers described this scene with no traces of stopping at the edge as unlike anything they'd witnessed before. Based on his toxicology report, the driver, Jennifer Hart, had an alcohol level above the legal limit and also confirmed several other family members had unusually high amounts of Benadryl in their system, including a toxic level for the other parent, Sarah.
Find out what went wrong in this documentary that exposes the dark side of Child Protective Services and a nightmare that took the lives of an entire family. Jennifer Jean Hart was born June 4, 1979, and Sarah Margaret Hart was born on April 8, 1979, both from South Dakota. Jennifer originated from Huron, Sarah from Big Stone City, although some sources claim Ortonville, Minnesota, adjacent to Big Stone City, as Sarah's hometown. Both women were the eldest children of their families. Jennifer had 2 siblings, and Sarah had 3 siblings. According to her father, Jennifer was not initially raised as a Lutheran, but baptized as one. Jennifer attended Huron High School. Sarah attended high school in Minnesota. The 2 women attended and began their relationship at Northern State University. Sarah had initially attended the University of Minnesota for 1 semester before transferring to NSU, while Jennifer started in Augustana University before transferring in 1999. Both women majored in elementary education, with Sarah focusing on special education. After Sarah graduated in 2002, Jennifer left the university without graduating. In 2005, Sarah asked a local court to have her last name altered to match her partner's. The couple went to Connecticut to be married in 2009. At the time, same-sex marriage was not yet legal in every U.S. state. On Facebook, Jennifer stated that the women were initially closeted when they lived in South Dakota, and that when they came out, they lost friends. They moved to Alexandria, Minnesota in 2004, where both women worked at a Herberger's store. In the new location, they made a choice to be open about their relationship. Jennifer worked miscellaneous jobs until she became a stay-at-home mom in 2006, while Sarah became a manager at Herbinger's. After a period of living in Westland, Oregon, the Harts moved to an unincorporated area near Woodland, Washington. Sarah became a manager at a Kohl's in Hazel Dale. The couple were living near Woodland at the time of the murders. The Harts received funds from the state of Texas covering their 6 adopted children, which accounted for almost 50% of the family's income. Members of Jennifer's and Sarah's families stated that the two women distanced themselves from them, although both families were accepting of their sexual orientation. Jennifer estranged herself from her father after 2001. State government reports stated that the couple cut off contact with their relatives because of criticism about their parenting. Prior to adopting their 6 children, the Harts were foster parents to a 15-year-old girl. A week before their first 3 children were due to arrive, the Harts dropped the girl off at a scheduled therapist appointment. The therapist then informed the girl that the Harts would not be coming back for her. Abigail was born in 2003. Hannah Jean was born in 2002, and Marcus Hart was born in 1998. They were adopted by the Harts from Colorado County, Texas. The placement came in March 4th, 2006, and they were adopted that September. In June 2008, they adopted 3 additional children: Sierra Miaja, who was born in 2005, Devontae Jordan, who was born in 2002, and Jeremiah Hart, born in 2004. All of them originating from Houston, after their biological mother, Sherry Davis, lost custody due to substance abuse problems in August 2006. In 2008, while the family was living in Minnesota, a teacher observed bruises on Hannah's left arm and was told she had been hit by Jennifer with a belt. Within months, all 6 children had been pulled out of public school system for a year. In 2010, Abigail said she had owies on her back and stomach, stating that she felt threatened by the Harts. The Harts had beaten her and had held her head in cold water over a penny they assumed had been stolen.
We're learning new details about the Harts' relationship, stemming back to when they were living in Minnesota. Minnesota was where the Harts lived when they adopted all 6 children from Texas. It was also where they were first accused of child abuse. Sarah Hart pleaded guilty to domestic assault after one of the couple's daughters, Abigail, accused Sarah of hitting her. We now have emails from around that time revealing troubles in the couple's marriage. 3 months earlier, Jennifer Hart wrote a friend saying she felt unloved, that Sarah was horrible about showing love, and that Jennifer felt she was raising the kids on her own. She also wrote that while Sarah loves the kids, she had not been fully present with either her or them. At least one friend, however, reported to Oregon's Department of Human Services that she believed Jennifer was the one who was abusive, manipulative, and controlling, and that she was the one going overboard in punishing the kids.
And in 2011, one of the women, Sarah Hart, was convicted of domestic assault against the couple's 6-year-old daughter. Court records from Minnesota say a teacher discovered bruises on the girl's back and stomach. Sarah said they've been having behavior issues with their daughter and admitted she let her anger get out of control and bent the child over the edge of a bathtub and spanked her.
When authorities became involved, all children claimed that they had been spanked constantly and deprived of food. Sarah took responsibility for the abuse, pled guilty to assault, and was sentenced to community service for a year. 1 year later, Hannah reportedly told the school nurse that she had not eaten all day. Sarah claimed that Hannah was merely, quote, playing the food card, unquote, and recommended that she just be given water. Soon afterward, all 6 children were taken out of public schools and were homeschooled from then on. Prior to the murders, 12-year-old Devontae came into the national spotlight when he was photographed crying as he embraced a police officer during a 2014 protest in Portland, Oregon, resulting from the Ferguson unrest. The image became known as the, quote, hug felt around the world, Jennifer was very active on social media and used Facebook to project an image of a loving, happy family while also sharing her thoughts on race, politics, and trips the family went on. This helped mask some of the problems within the family. One allegation of child abuse from 2013 touched upon Jennifer's use of Facebook, saying that the kids pose and are made to look like one big happy family, but after the photo event, they go back to looking lifeless.
Who was Jennifer Hart? What do we know about her?
You know, that has been one of the biggest mysteries. We have these photos of a smiling, blended family, contrasting with multiple reports of child abuse.
We weren't duped. That love wasn't fake. They loved their children. They weren't white supremacists. They just were isolated. They were in pain. She was in constant anxiety.
Bakhtiar says Jennifer struggled after a photo of Devontae hugging a Portland police officer at a protest went viral.
After that picture happened with Devontae, Jen went into like the deepest, darkest depression ever.
Jennifer texted that the backlash to the photo was traumatic, that people were stalking the house and leaving threats in their mailbox. She said that's why she had been, in her words, non-existent publicly, that she was working through some messed up stuff.
Now that I realize like how serious it was, it's like I just wish I had known to be like, well, let's get security cameras, or like, let's call somebody, or let's find remediation.
In another text sent last year, Jennifer told Bakhtiar that during the past 8 months, she had only texted 3 people, Bakhtiar, Sarah, and a stranger by accident. She said it had been the toughest year of her life.
In 2013, Oregon authorities were notified of the abuse allegations in Minnesota. Their investigation included separate interviews of everyone in the family, as well as interviews of people who knew the family. 2 family friends stated that the children were forced to raise their hands before speaking, could not wish each other a happy birthday, and could not laugh at the dinner table. There were other reports that the children were poorly fed and looked small for their ages. One family friend reported that Jennifer had ordered a pizza for the children, but each was only allowed to have a single slice. When Jennifer discovered that the pizza was gone, she punished the children by not feeding them breakfast and forcing them to lie on their bed for 5 hours. Friends also stated that the children acted scared to death of Jen and likened them to trained robots. However, the interviews of the children themselves revealed no new incidents of abuse, nor did they mention anything that had happened in Minnesota. When Jennifer herself was interviewed, she claimed that any family problems were the results of others not being tolerant of 2 lesbian mothers with 6 African American children. In the end, the investigation could not conclude whether the Harts were guilty of anything or whether there was a safety threat. In August 2017, after the Harts had since moved to Woodland, Washington, Hannah jumped out of her second-story bedroom window at around 1:30 a.m. and approached the residence of her next-door neighbors, the Kebabs. Hannah reportedly pleaded, "Don't make me go back. They're racist and they abuse us." Soon afterwards, the Harts found Hannah and took her back home. The following day, Jennifer attempted to explain the incident by claiming that Hannah was lying, that the children occasionally acted out because they were, quote, drug babies, unquote, and that Hannah's biological mother was bipolar.
Well, I mean, you know, we had an incident before with an evening situation that made Dana very concerned about what was going on next door. And then about a week ago or so, one of the children came over and started asking for food. And it went on for a period of time until we kind of determined that he was probably reaching out. And we determined that we should call the Child Protective Services, and that's what we did on Friday.
You said he was asking for a lot of food.
Yeah, a lot of food. I mean, it started out very, yeah.
Tortillas, and it ended up a case of food. Multiple, cured meats, non-perishable food items.
Right.
And was asking that we not tell his mom and to, you know, hide it and put it by the fence so he could get to it, and that they were withholding food from him as punishment.
Oh,
You know,
it was
It was
Devontae.
definitely.
You guys have shown us pictures, and we've talked about that one, that it was Devontae for sure.
You told me you were a little surprised when he said he was 15 because he was small.
Well, they were all small. I mean, the one girl who was 12 looked like she was 7. Both of her teeth were missing, front teeth, and we questioned, you know, what's up with the teeth thing, and they said, well, she didn't want them replaced. We thought that was a little weird, but anyway, they were all very small.
Very thin
Yeah.
and tiny. We only met Jennifer once, and that was in reference to the incident with Hannah.
Right.
She only was here that next morning one time. I met with Jennifer a couple of times in regards to sharing the driveway, and she wasn't friendly at all. She was mean.
1:30 in the morning, the doorbell's ringing, and I answered
She's
the
asking
door,
for
and
our
then she was standing out there with in a blanket, completely covered in blackberries, because she had gone to that neighbor's house through the blackberries, and then they have a gate that locks that, so she ended up back over on our front doorstep. And at the time, I didn't know what to do, so
What'd she say?
she said that she said that she wanted us to take her to Seattle, and that they weren't treating her right. Don't you know, make her go back. But you know, kids can do stuff sometimes when they're a certain age. They run away from home and stuff like that. So by that time, they were all out looking for her with flashlights, and so we tried to get some story as to what was going on. And of course, they told us what we wanted to hear, I guess, and life went on for another 8 months. And here we are today.
I did.
Well, once she heard they were from
when I saw that
West
it said
Lynn.
2 women from West Lynn and 3 kids, my gut was it was them.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I just knew it was them. Probably because the fact that they took off and never came back, and they aren't people that usually leave anywhere. Probably because I really believed they were evil.
Sure.
The only time you saw Devontae was pretty much the only one we ever saw outside, and he was doing chores.
Yeah.
That was the only time.
He did
there
the
was
garbage
no play.
and raked the leaves and all, you know, stuff like that. But anybody else other than that night? Because they all came over the next morning with a, you know,
with a story.
A story.
And Devontae told us that they had lied and made us, just to make us feel good, that everything Hannah told us was true.
Yeah.
On March 26, 2018, Jennifer and Sarah Hart murdered all 6 of their children when Jennifer drove their vehicle, a GMC Yukon XL, over a 100-foot cliff on California State Road 1 in Mendocino County, California, near West Point. The bodies of 5 of the children, Hannah, Marcus, Jeremiah, Abigail, and Sierra, were found in or near the vehicle, which had landed upside down on a beach below the cliff. The body of Devontae has not been found as of 2022. A Superior Court judge ruled that Devontae was in the vehicle at the time of the crash, and a death certificate was signed on April 3rd of that year. Expert analysis of the SUV's internal airbag deploying computer determined that the Yukon had been intentionally driven off the edge of the cliff from a standing stop, accelerating to 20 miles per hour in 3 seconds with the throttle at 100%. A 14-member coroner's jury unanimously ruled that the case was a murder-suicide. The inquest was called to determine cause of death, but not any responsibility in the civil or criminal fields. The California Highway Patrol stated that criminal prosecution was not possible due to the deaths of any responsible parties. Toxicology results showed that Jennifer's blood alcohol content was over the legal limit at the time of the crash, and that both Sarah and 2 of the children had diphenhydramine in their systems. Sarah had made Google searches before the crash inquiring about the lethality of Benadryl and the nature of death by drowning. Her searches also included no-kill shelters for dogs. The family's 2 dogs were found inside the Hart family home. The Mendocino County Sheriff's Department officially closed the case and released declassified records in 2019. According to an incident report following the murders, it was reported that Sarah told a coworker, quote, she wished she and Jennifer would not have adopted the children, unquote. How did this happen? How did such a tragedy occur, and could it have been stopped? These are the rational questions that present themselves when faced with a murder-suicide and the deaths of 8 people. Looking at the history of Jennifer and Sarah Hart, immediate questions come to mind. Why were they allowed to adopt other children when they abandoned the first child under their care? Why did the state of Texas allow 2 women who had never been parents themselves to suddenly become the guardians of 6 children? Why were there no periodic checks on the welfare of the children from point of adoption forward? And especially after an initial investigation was done, were there no follow-up checks mandated? There is no question that we have far too many children in need of adoption to loving, caring adults to raise them into adulthood, and a DHS system that does not have the staff to meet the needs of so many cases they are burdened with. But it begs the question, are adopters given sufficient background review and psychological testing to see if they are fit parents? Why did Jennifer and Sarah Hart kill themselves and the children under their care? Suicide is an act where the persons involved believe there is no other option. Why did Jennifer and Sarah believe this? Could it be that their history of abuse and neglect was about to be exposed once and for all, and they took what they believed was the easy way out? Why, if the burden was so great, did they not seek assistance in caring for the children, or optionally transfer custody to other foster parents? It is sadly possible that the Harts were using the children as a source of income only, as a means to acquire money without any intent to care for the children under their charge. Whatever intent Jennifer and Sarah may have started out with when they first adopted the 6 children, the story of their lives should never have ended at the bottom of a cliff in a crushed SUV. It is said that a society is judged not by its achievements, but by how it treats the most vulnerable citizens. I cannot think of a more vulnerable person than a child at the mercy of an adult in an uncaring and abusive home.